Oh, yes. Oh, YouTube. YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Betwixt. Hello, hello, hello. Google Chrome says I'm live. Um, can anyone hear me? Let's see. See if my audio is working. You know, I should really be doing better with this, folks. But my thing is, I experiment a lot with different setups. So it's okay. Good. So I'm on there for audio. Sarah Red, how are you, my friend? How are you doing? Sarah Red is a person I'm always happy to speak to because she's always optimizing and looking at healthy lifestyle and healthy foods and healthy ideas. And we've had many conversations about the environment and internal and external and what can we do. That's why we're here on a Monday to just chill out and talk a little bit about natural foods, natural life. Um, okay, well, I've got audio. How's it going? Those of you who are stopping in, let's see if I can get my um, comments full page here so I can see them. Oh, Sabina is here. How are you? How are you, Sabina? First comment from Germany. I love it. I love it. Bitte, meine Damen. Yeah. Um, so let's get set up here. Well, we are set up, but I always got to check everything. Yeah, because I don't have a real TV station. How do you bitte meine Damen? Wie geht's? How do you pronounce? I'm so bad at the pronunciation of German. I'm fascinated because there's all those consonants in different places for us. Wie geht's? I know I'm saying it wrong. Sorry. I should just listen to a basic German language tape. So, all right, I can't hear myself in headphones, but that's okay. We're doing it a little weird today. Aloha, Pete Brunelli. How are you, my friend? What's going on? Pete's here. I got some new caffeine, folks. Of course, coffee all the time, but I like any kind of seltzer. I drink tap water, so it's not. Uh, but these are fun. This new wave of uh, kind of no sugar, seltzer drinks. So this is Perrier. It's actually got like a yerba mate in it, So it's got grapefruit essence, organic grapefruit essence, and yerba mate. So it's just water, but a little bit of so V Gates. Okay, I think I said the E wrong, right? Yeah, I got the V part. V Gates. Thank you. I knew Gates was involved in this. I knew it. Sabine is good, but we're coming from a summer flu. Okay, shocked about the Afghanistan. Just man, heartbreaking. Um, Sometimes I come on this show and I go, how can I talk about food and saving animals when the fucking world is on fire? I know the state of this country and a big state like Florida just It's just this must look amazing from the outside. Those of you looking in, only because only because we talk such a big talk about being number one. Then you see what things like Florida. But I do come on and I say, wow, it's But then I figure you have lots of the news. You may be tired of it. You've been watching it all weekend. So I stick with this Monday thing to just talk about um, food, nutrition, optimizing your immune system, what's happening with animals, what's new out there. I just touched the tip of the iceberg, obviously, on new products. But we talk about all these things. For me, it's kind of it's a way to not be soaking in all the other news headlines, uh, which is, I mean, they don't go away, but as you know, I where they overlap with animal rights issues, I tie that in. But the Afghanistan thing, wow, we just couldn't win. And it's a sad example. Once you've broken something, you kind of need to stay there and fix it, right? Which sucks because there go our tax dollars. Instead of sending Americans to college, we spent 83 billion doing what? Because the shit collapsed in 48 hours, right? So, uh, you know, anyway, we'll come back to that, I guess, if anyone wants to. Well, today though, I want to talk about a few things. The Farmshire Sanctuary, which I've got some great pictures. We visited there yesterday. It's a beautiful um, sanctuary, uh, and let's see. It's a farm sanctuary in Waynesville, North Carolina, which is here in Western NC, and we visited there yesterday. Yesterday, and Perrier burps is always good. Okay, so I've got some pictures, but got some beautiful shots yesterday, folks, on this amazing farm. Um, and I'll show you some of those pictures. Here's okay. Let's get a couple. Got a couple ready to go here. Well, you saw the picture, or the video, I guess, of me with a pig. It was pretty cool. I'll put that up right now. Let's see. Um, Here it is. So this is a little video. There's no sound. It's about just a few seconds long, 25 seconds. Beautiful pigs. I think that's Kermit, and I forget the other pig's name. Everyone has a name. There's two special ducks there. I got a feather from the turkey, and it's in my hair. It's starting to rain. So anyway, that's just a snapshot, and I got some other stills and some great other pictures to share. But just wanted to use that as a launching point for uh, talk a little bit about a major news issue that came down the pike, a major news item in the last 24 hours. This situation of California passing this new law that says you cannot sell pork in the state of California that has been in uh, one of these tight little cages these pigs are in. These pigs are usually in a cage that is 6 feet by 2 feet, something like that, which is amazing. Think about that if you can. I think it's 7 feet, maybe, whatever it is. Not much bigger than a pig, a grown pig. They get huge. but 2 feet across. I mean, this is animal cannot even move, and but that's what they do in so that you can have cheap bacon. That's what they do, so these animals do not injure each other, and so they do not injure themselves. Uh, it's horrific. So after many years, many decades of activism and advocacy for these animals, California has done a pretty major thing, and it is major when you consider the uh, economics. You know, California's I don't know, I can't tell you exactly, but it's in the top 5 or 6 economies, right, in the world. California on its own is a big enough economy that's bigger than most countries, right? Uh, it's an incredibly huge economic thing. So for them to pass a law, a very strong law that so we got a bunch of things about pigs today is the point. So I'm gonna talk a bunch about Farmshire. Now, there's something I just got to check one thing on the. There's a fundraiser, but I got to check the link uh, because I've heard this. I've heard this. Um, let's see how this works. Yeah, Facebook page. Um, okay, Network for Good. So I don't know. I didn't. I don't know. I've never done this with Facebook. Setting up a donation. But I know it's part of their whole thing. So let me get some details on it. But I need to just make sure that Farmshire is registered with them. That's what it is. It's all in the up and up, but just I will check this real time. But we're talking about raising some money for Farmshire Sanctuary. You can go right to their website or their Facebook, their Instagram, um, and their PayPal or Venmo, and we'll put all those up. But let's do some more pictures. Yeah, here is some cool stills from. So it's pigs. We had pigs. We had um, there's 2 llamas. There's a bunch of different types of ducks, chickens, goats. No, wait, no goats this time, but she's had goats in the past. Llamas, pigs, chickens, ducks, turkeys. There's one more, maybe another bird, but there's a um, couple different types of ducks, which was cool. Let's see here. This is another one that's cool. Kind of just a close up of me with another one of these amazing pigs. Pigs are really amazing. When you get in front of them, they're you know they're very gentle, very responsive, like a dog or a cat. You know how they just you know uh, depending on the dog or cat, of course, but a very friendly dog. Comes right up to you and kind of wagging their tail and just very engaging. Some animals aren't like that, of course, right? Some animals, like a lot of birds, that they want to get away from you if they don't know you. But to total strangers, dogs kind of come up, that kind of thing. So pigs are like that. They tend to come right over. Again, not all animals are like that. Not all horses, goats, llamas. a little skittish. But pigs are incredibly intelligent. We know that, and if you read about them, they're one of the smartest animals in this list that we're talking about, where they can they've tested them and they can recognize patterns and remember the order things were put together in and figure out little puzzles and really smart animals, you know. So it's been a couple years since I've been around pigs, but it has such a dramatic effect on you because they're so huge, you know, when they're grown. It's another thing, we're not as humans around big animals like cows and pigs unless you're, you know, going to a farm. Obviously, we're used to animals we can control, like domesticated. So I'm just speaking for me personally. It's just kind of profound to be around these huge 500, 700 pound animals uh, that are so gentle and sniffing your hand and kind of obviously, uh, seemingly, we don't know. I can't say obviously, but seemingly they enjoy just some head rubs and massaging their neck or their skull or something. Um, so amazing stuff. Uh, so this pick is just a random one, and I've got a few more as I go through and find them. This is a really cool um, overview of the um, the field where they are. Here it is. Wait, sorry, just having some. There we go. So this one is just gives you an idea of the scope of the farm and that these animals have this awesome area they can go go play around in and graze. You know, um, I didn't really know pigs grazed on kind of grassy stuff, but because you always see them in a pen eating out of a trough of stuff, you know, grains or something. But yeah, they love being out in the field. We saw them come back and forth. So again, this is in Farmshire Sanctuary. I'll put the link up in uh, Waynesville, North Carolina. But as I spoke about earlier with y'all, um, find one of these near you. You know, there's these kind of sanctuaries are all around the world, I'm sure, but all around the USA for sure. Um, let's see. Um, okay, I've got some video here. Let me make sure I'm seeing your dialogue too, because I know people are tagging in. Uh, Nilly was here yesterday. I hope she's here today. Although, what time is it in Israel? So it's 9 or 10 at night. But Nilly Hankin is a friend of mine in Israel who is an animal rights person and a plant based. And she's a writer. She's super busy. I'm trying to get her on the show. So Nilly, if you're listening, a little friendly pressure to say, "Hey, let's have you on." But Israel in general, you know, I've been paying a lot of attention to Israel for a long time for a lot of different news reasons and cultural reasons, historical reasons. But they've been obviously way ahead on the vaccines and stuff. So really paying attention there. But also, I don't know if you know this, in the past few years, there's been an explosion in Israel of animal rights and plant-based foods and plant-based living, and a whole, you know, um, a whole push for um, alternatives to, you know, to beef and chicken and animal flesh. Um, and there's also been a movement, and there's a place in Israel I saw a video on YouTube, a little profile where you can go get this lab grown meat, like chicken and things like that, grown in a petri dish. Wow. I mean, of course, I would never eat that. I'm not attracted to it, but it's, from an environmental perspective, if somebody who loves that taste and texture and everything of chicken flesh, and they're going to go, okay, I'll have it this way. It's a massive change in environmental impact and how much water, how much space is used, all that. So anyway, a lot of cool stuff in Israel on the vegan side, though, on the plant-based side, and it's not a big jump. Of course, it's a country in the Mediterranean region where it's very easy to have a heavily plant-based diet. In fact, the Mediterranean diet that we talk about, Israel is part of that, you know, uh, crest of countries that have this amazing food. So, uh, Nilly is here. Okay, cool. Hey, Nilly, it's 10:30 at night, 22:30. Okay, so uh, not attracted to either fake meat. I know. Yeah, it's not something I love. Certainly not petri dish. But I try things, of course, like vegan sausages or burgers. We tried one the other day that we never had. I forget who makes it. I don't know, one of these companies, and it was really good. So every once in a while, we try some of those vegan burgers and things. Um, and yeah, Pete Brunelli's here. Sharon's here. Hey, Sharon. Sabine. Steve Hershey. What's up, my friend? Um, all right. Thanks all y'all for stopping by. All right, let's go to some more pictures. I've got a bunch. I've got some video too. That Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see. This is one of me and the llama. There's two llamas at this place, and wow, pretty amazing. It's not a long video, a few seconds, if that. No, okay. Wow. Oh yeah, there we go. Pigs, chickens, turkeys, all living together, and the lion will lay down with the lamb. Got to pet that chicken. There's Robin with Jam, and there's the Fab Four, who are not part of this. Uh, Actually, William Shatner, longtime vegetarian. That makes it kind of relevant, right? And Spock, whose character is a vegetarian, and one of them is playing Paul McCartney, who's a vegetarian. See that I can work anything into the show, but so some random ones there. Um, let's see. Here's another couple fun ones. So every year, or well, it's every year, but what they did yesterday was a dedication of this little wading pond that the animals have. So we got some pictures of that. It's just a fun thing that they do there. I don't think yesterday was any special date or anything, but wow, that's a great shot, a beautifully done shot. These are shots from my other half. These are from Robin, who's a photographer, and you can see that's a nicely framed. That's like a calendar shot. I like that. And everyone got in there, and you could see what's cool there is that the one duck is looks like it's rubbing its head on the other duck. So they're all pretty friendly. I learned that the duck on the left, the one with that kind of crest on its head, that's kind of a deformity. I couldn't remember the name of it, but it's kind of this problem that ducks have. But humans have bred them to encourage that because it is kind of a cool look. It looks, it's like that duck is rocking her Queen Elizabeth hairdo or something. So it's kind of cool, but it's also not cool because it's a deformity. And so I just learned that there's these ducks that they breed to be like that. So, but regardless, this place saves animals that are pets that people get that they change their mind, uh, animals that are you know uh, have an injury perhaps, and they're going to be euthanized. So they've grabbed up and saved the lives of all kinds of animals, and they're going to keep doing it. So I thought today, yeah, we would just touch base on them a little bit, remind you all of two things. You can donate to Farmshire Sanctuary, or you can find one near you, wherever you are around the world, uh, and see about supporting some similar thing. Benny Rodriguez, what's up, bro? Fra! The Benny Rodriguez greeting, which it's awesome. It is his and his alone. We love it. Kathy Starkey, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. Llamas, yeah, I know the llama was interesting. I pet a llama for the first time. I checked to see if they spit, like because I know camels and similar ungulates. Are they an ungulate or just a cow? Is, uh, but she told me, Sarah, the woman who runs it, said no, they're pretty good about that, but they will rarely spit. Um, Oh, okay. I'm getting updated. Yes, thanks for the reminder, Robin. The llamas, right? They were using them as lasso practice. Can you picture that? I mean, because they have those beautiful necks that, if that's what you're going for, But that's how humans think. Like, yeah, let's use them as lasso practice, so we can be really good lassoing the other animals. Anyway, uh, so glad she got them. Uh, yeah, no spitting is rude. Oh, right. Okay. So the mud pit was okay, birthday fundraising goal. That's right. That's right. It was tied to that. So happy birthday, Sarah, and happy mud pit. And we got some pictures of that we're going to show. Um, so the sanctuaries, as Robin is pointing out, money is great because you got to pay the bills, keep the lights on, keep the internet going. A lot of volunteers, so the work they get a lot of work just from people's love of animals. But there's food to buy and medicines to buy and vet bills, and it's really great because the vet community supports this and does different things. But even at discount prices, you're running, a little menagerie of right of animals. So uh, animals need vaccines once in a while. How about that? They don't vaccine half of the birds when there's a breakout of an outbreak of some kind of bird flu or something, right? Um, so all these discussions overlap, but yeah, so a lot of reasons to support this farm sanctuary or other ones that you can find. Okay, so I'm going to bounce around. I'm going to come back to Farmshire, and yes, Robin, vet bills, absolutely. Um, but wanted to look at one of the news items first off. Oh, where did I put it? Here it is. This is so cool. Well, two cool things for animals is that uh, um, let's see. Let's see. Okay, so did y'all see this? It's been a couple weeks. This has been um, bubbling under, and it's legislation in California, which I mentioned before, but now I'm going to pull the article up. And it's something they've been working on for years. And we'll put the link up. Here it is. California voted to improve pig welfare. And it says the pork industry is facing a reckoning, which is fantastic. So basically, California has passed a law saying you cannot sell parts of a pig, parts of this animal in their state without having these stringent laws, or sorry, not laws, but these stringent requirements of the crates. Okay, so I'll put the link up so you can see this article yourself. But here's I can highlight the main part of it right there. So most pigs in the USA are put in cages 7 feet by 2 feet across, which is horrific. And I'm sure in many countries around the world, it's just as horrific. But some countries not. Some countries, obviously in Europe, have very good animal rights laws. So 9 states have banned the use of these crates, but California goes further. You can't even sell this animal flesh in California if you are raising animals in this manner. So that's amazing. So is that clear to everyone? It's one thing to pass a law where in your state of California, pig, you know, pig abusers can it's one thing to pass a law where in California you're impacting the farmers in that state. They're going one step further. They're saying you can't even sell your pork flesh in our state if you have cages that are old school. So this is, of course, the big, hog farms and pig farm companies are freaking out because they're going to have to overhaul their whole operation. It's really an amazing thing. Trade groups have challenged the law in federal court, but so far courts have sided with California voters, which is awesome. So, all right. So that's one point of discussion. I'm going to give you that link here. Put it in the Facebook chat. Also, hello, YouTube people. I got one person watching on YouTube. 2 people. Cheryl Griffith, how are you? Thanks for watching on YouTube. Thank you. And if anyone's on Twitch, I always forget to check Twitch. Had a few people the other day hanging out, bummed out because I was ignoring them. I'm not ignoring you. If you're on Twitch, I will stop by. So so there's an article. That's an Apple News link, but it's the article is actually in, where the hell is it? National Geographic or something. I'll find a better link to it, but you can find it. That's an easy one. If you just look up, California new pig cruelty laws, you'll find it. You'll find a million things on it. But there you go. The link is live. Kind of awesome, though, that the federal court has sided with, a compassionate attempt there in California. There you go. There's another better link directly to National Geographic, but they're about the same. Okay, let's before we go to another news item, let's see. Here's a couple more shots. This one is this one's going to be video, and this is this a goat? No, that's a pig. So this is Sarah, who this is her brainchild and her kind of her gift back to the world, back to the animals, and that's uh, one of the pigs. I forget which one that is. I had the names kind of memorized, but beautiful shot, and then beautiful shot. This is what the area looks like. Area of of this place, Farmshire. Beautiful pigs, beautiful animals. And this is the area that they're in. They get to enjoy the fresh mountain air and kind of beautiful western NC, as they should be living their lives. I just love that we're changing this. Um, let's see. Oh, great. Here's a picture of them. So again, it was Sarah's birthday. She wanted to, if she hit a certain amount of fundraising, she said, "All right, we're going to get into the pit with these pigs." And sure enough, they did. And that's one of the volunteers, a guy named Jeremy. And they got in the mud, man. They were like, "Anyone want to join us?" We're like, "No, that's cool. We're watching." But so they made this huge mud pit, and these are a couple of the pigs arriving and going like, "Oh, this is nice. This is a area for us to, and it's fresh, clean water. We saw them. They had some hoses and stuff, filled that up, but it's of course muddy, and pigs love the mud. The one pig was excavating a little bit extra as well. So good stuff. Um, um, all right. Let's go back to your comments. See if anyone. Kathy, indeed, yes. Playful pigs. Uh, so the other news item is pretty exciting. And this is because you all know I always talk about um, news items, new products, stuff like that. Uh, and before I go into this cool little new news item, I want to remind you too that Beyond Pork is out there. There's Beyond Beef, and some of you might have seen that stuff. But it's always amazing when a major market picks up on these changes. And I think it's dramatic that China, where there's quite a bit of pork in the cuisine, in the cultural, in the diet, Beyond Pork has taken off. It's being used in a really major food chain that has over 500 locations, and I mean that's dramatic. So just wanted to point that out, and I'll put that article there. Pork is the most consumed animal protein in China, and oops, let's get that link. Most consumed animal protein, and to have something like this where it's being used in all these traditional dishes. Because you know what's funny? I love Asian food. It's one of my absolute favorites. Maybe my favorite. I go back and forth. I love Mediterranean food. Kind of Turkish, Israeli, Lebanese, Moroccan food. Just that whole uh, Greek, Italian plant-based stuff. And I love Mexican food. Those are the three kind of big areas. Um, but Asian food, if I had to pick one, the Asian cornucopia of food is possibly my favorite. But one of the funny things about Asian food is, and I've traveled in Japan a bunch. I've been there 8 times and all around Japan, and been to Australia, which been to Australia twice, which Australia is actually a real interesting snapshot of Asia because you have all the Asian countries represented there. So it's amazing food uh, food destination for those of you who travel because of food. You wouldn't think that, right? But Australia, again, because of where it is, amazing Thai food, Chinese food, Japanese, Indian, Malaysian, Singaporean, Sri Lankan, Pakistani, you know, Nepalese. I mean, you just find every Bhutanese. You find all these foods. Did I say Korean? Um, you find I've been to food courts in Melbourne where you walk in and it's everything I just said. You kind of look around 360 going, "Oh my god, what am I going to have?" You know, and so veg friendly. I mean, amazingly. I just had these incredible meals. Somewhere I have some video because I was there for about 10 days and on that trip, and once I settled into a pattern, I ate at this Asian food court like 5 or 6 times. But I started doing some video of this one place that did um, like a pho kind of a thing where you know it's noodles and then sizzling hot broth and then the vegetables, and it kind of cooks as you watch it on your in front of your um, in front of you. Um, so anyway, my point there is, uh, what's amazing about Asian food is it's so very plant based, and then there's usually one bit of meat. Like, it might be a fair amount of it. But what's interesting is you look at that sliced pork or the sliced beef or chicken, but what's all around it, right? Noodles made from rice or wheat, carrots, zucchini, onions, scallions, leeks, a whole family of kind of allium and onion family. All these greens, right? Mustard and bamboo shoots and, different types of kale and different relatives of broccoli and, um, Thai basil and uh, cilantro and all this stuff. So that Asian plate has it's kind of amazing because you count like 12 vegetables and then the pork, right? And so it's interesting. So what I find very interesting about that is it's super easy to make it vegetarian, really easy, and that's borne out in the many great all vegetarian Asian restaurants, which you can find. I've been to many in the big cities like L.A., San Francisco, New York, Boston. I'm thinking of ones I've actually been to places, and those are London. Where you see these, 100% vegetarian or vegan, Thai, Chinese, Indian. So that's really cool. The whole point there is that's why it's an amazing thing that there's this way to substitute for pork, get the mouth feel, the texture, the propensity to soak up the spices and the oils and everything. And there's no better testing ground than China, where it's the number one animal flesh they eat, and they're embracing. That's what the numbers say. I mean, if I've read some of the kind of stock journalism discussions of this stuff, and it's just going crazy there. So check that out. And as we talk about pigs today, today's Pig Day. So ooh, okay, great. Okay, there's the link on Beyond Pork, which we've talked about a bunch. We've talked about. Um, let's see. Let's go back to some of your comments. Pigs can't sweat. Yeah, that's right. The mud is one of the ways they keep cool. Indian food is great. Christopher Lowry asks, "Have I ever eaten in Afghanistan?" Is that because they were in the news today? Remind you of Afghanistan? No, I've never been to Afghanistan. In my trips to, there's two places in the world I've not been a lot. One, two continents I've never been to: Africa and Antarctica. So far, we're working on it. Asia, I've only been on the opposite ends. I've been in Asia. I've been in Turkey, which is obviously considered the borderline of Asia and Europe. In Istanbul, you cross the bridge literally into Europe. So I've been to Turkey. I've been to Israel. So I've been on the far western side of Asia and the far eastern side of Asia because I've been to Japan 8 times. So um, if it happens, it happens. I'm happy with the traveling I've done, but I'd love to do more, and I'd love to go to that middle part of Asia. Everything that I that's in between what I just said. Love to go to India and Pakistan. Love that food. Love that cuisine. I have uh, some Indian blood. I have Indian people in my family and in my heritage. I've got, and I grew up in a country for about 5 years of my life. Not uh, growing up years though, from age 5 to 11. I grew up in Guyana, South America, which is just over half Indian people. So it's I was thinking about this the other day. Like my exposure to Asian culture is I can't separate it from my just my reality because I grew up eating Indian food, eating those spices, enjoying Indian holidays, uh, Indian culture, music, clothing, people with saris and all the different colorful stuff. But the food, yeah, it's just part of my favorite foods. Um, so I'd love to go to all those places in between. In answer to your question, Christopher, but I have not. I've not yet been to anywhere other than Israel, all the way on the west, Japan, all the way on the east of Asia. So we're working on that. But I've actually eaten Afghani food. Yeah, that's a place in New York I went to, and living near New York was awesome for that. You really could find just about everything. I mean, there was a couple funny exceptions, like not that much Indonesian food, which is weird. You think there'd be scores of restaurants, which there are for Thai and Indian and everything else. Indonesia's funny. You find it in Holland a lot, Netherlands, um, Afghanistan. No, okay, and then okay. Oh wow, Sharon ate accidentally ate meat. Yeah, just because it's called tofu. Exactly. Who gotta vet everything. Um, Guyanese food is yes, extremely yeah, because it's more than half the people are Indian. Uh, Bassam, you smoked some Afghani. That's awesome. You are a fool, my friend. Bassam, yeah, thanks for jumping in on that thread. Look, dude, right? It just doesn't even. Oh, I know. Uh, I had a thread, folks. It's on my Facebook. You can look at it. But all I did was post the thread from a musician saying, "Hey, be careful out there, because if you want us to be playing shows, help us. You're coming just tonight, Friday night, but we're going to a different place every night. We're in different hotels, we're different truck stops, different stage crews, different lighting people, sound people. We are exposing ourselves to this virus, and please help us out." And this musician was saying he's had a number of people get in his face and yell, "You don't need that mask." Imagine what kind of person that takes. And I'd like to hear from some of you. And y'all know me. I don't this this discussion fits fluidly into the food stuff because we are here because of the way we treat animals. That's how we got to SARS. That's how we got to MERS, right? Middle Eastern Respiratory Syndrome. It's how we got the swine flu 100 years ago, right? It was just swine flu. There's avian flus that we have endured. Every one of them, Ebola, every one of these things plugs into humans and the horrific shit we do to animals. So that's a big part of why I'm here every day, to get us to think about that. Um, Christopher says, "What kind of food they serve in the Afghani?" It was very, as you would imagine, it was. To me, it reminded me of actually like Tibetan and Bhutanese food. There was some lentils and different, couple types. Definitely was lentils. I forget what other bean they had, but they had like a spinach type thing with like a garlic sauce. I can't remember the details, but I remember it being, kind of similar to that whole band of of, um, of countries like Pakistani. Um, there was definitely like a curry type thing going on, like a turmeric, chili, cardamom type of thing. Um, yeah, it. I remember it didn't stand out as like a separate thing of its own. Yeah, but all right. So the other news item that I'm so psyched about. This is a big deal because it's. Let's pull that up. Well, one of the shows that I really like. You've heard me talk about Anthony Bourdain. He's rest in peace. Um, he was awesome, and some people are like, "Really? You like?" He's so anti-vegetarian. He's kind of snarky about vegetarians, or he was, and but it was cool. It was done not in malice, I think, and he had some explanations that he had some real pain in the ass vegans on the line when he was a chef, when he was running his place, um, and so he was good natured about it, just busting chops. But what was funny is he would uh he would go to certain countries, especially again Asian countries, but I remember in Jamaica, in Lebanon, all these places where and actually I love the shows. I've watched it many times, and I noticed this actually in Eastern Europe. You'd go to places in Czech Republic or Poland, and everywhere you go on Earth, the side dishes, the dishes that poor people come up with, are often plant based. Not always. I'm not saying every side dish is vegetarian, but it predominantly so, because wherever you go in the world, um, just those little tapas, as they're called in Spanish culture, of course, but the metza, as they call it in Middle Eastern some Middle Eastern cultures, uh, the finger food it's called in other places, appetizers. Um, uh, I'm forgetting the name now in Italy. Anyway, you get the point. Every culture has this little thing, whether it's Ethiopian culture, Chilean, Japanese, the stuff they bring you first, and it's almost always very plant based. It's little potatoes with some kind of a sauce, or sun dried tomatoes or cherry tomatoes. It's little breads, little dips, pates, things like that. Of course, as I say, some of the things are animal based, but predominantly it's an area where all the foods of the world have a few choices for vegetarians. So that's what I would notice when hors d'oeuvres. That's great. Thank you, Sai. Good to see you here, Sai. Hors d'oeuvres is yeah, French. I can't remember the Italian. But what was cool about Anthony Bourdain? Many cool things. But he'd go to some of these countries, and the street food, or the hors d'oeuvres or the appetizers were often very plant based, and especially so the episode where he's in Lebanon. I mean, they eat all this great stuff, ful madamas, and there's some falafel. There's two types of hummus. He eats all this stuff. Likewise, when he goes to Jamaica, hanging out with the Rastas, he's having all this stuff before he has the jerk pork, the jerk chicken. He certainly has that. And then there's one episode, I think it's either Vietnam or Myanmar, Burma. I forget, but and again, the whole first 15 minutes of the thing, he's enjoying all these rice-based things, and things with plantains and different curried squashes and things. So that's what's cool. jumping over to Gordon Ramsay, who is different type of a show, but I love his show. He does that thing where he goes to restaurants that are falling apart and helps them to helps them to get their shit back together. So he's also got his Hell's Kitchen show. So I'm going to share a couple cool things about Gordon. Again, like Anthony Bourdain, he pokes fun at vegetarians a bit, and again, it's friendly, it's fine. It's kind of a, you know, there's a culture of chefs, which is really at the tail end of its journey. There's a culture of chefs where there's, well, that's not real food, and you're not really a chef if you're not expert at all this animal slaughter type cuisine. And it's amazing to see this change. I mean, we've talked about this amazing Michelin 4-star or 5-star place in Manhattan that shocked the food world last year and went completely plant based. Do y'all remember that? If not, easy to look for. Major earthquake in kind of the food world because this place is just waiting list for months, and high end dishes and stuff. And over the pandemic, they said, you know what, we've been kind of dancing around this for a while, but for environmental reasons, for cruelty reasons, for all these things, we're gonna go completely plant based. And a lot of people were mad, but a lot of people loved it, of course. So anyway, Gordon Ramsay, let's look at a couple cool things he did recently. One thing is, this is a little while back. This is I forget the date, but I remember seeing this in May, so not too long ago, where he has a vegan chef on Hell's Kitchen. So that is amazing. I have not seen this episode yet, but he's got Josie Clemens, Michigan-born vegan chef. So I'll put all these links there. While Ramsay previously made veganism the butt of many jokes, once stating that he was allergic to vegans, in the past few years, the chef has been changing his tune to take advantage of the lucrative and growing plant-based industry. So, you could take that view that it's just simply a business decision, but I don't know. Gordon Ramsay, he kind of says what he wants. He does a lot of things that you would go, wow, that's not a great business decision. But anyway, in 2018, he posted and said, I'm going to give this vegan thing a try. And he had his vegan charred aubergine pizza, which is eggplant. And that was in his restaurant in London. So this has gotten along the way something he's added in. And I have to applaud him for defending things. Here is one of his. In England, you have a bake every Sunday. One of the wonderful things hanging around in England, which I have many times, is every Sunday everyone gets together and eats together. Often they go to Mum's house. You travel out to see your mother, and she cooks a big Sunday bake, Sunday roast. Sorry, or you go to a pub. Most pubs have a Sunday roast. So Gordon Ramsay, who's of course British, did this vegan roast. Look at that. It's beets. It's some sort of a wonderful kind of flaky pastry there. I see a baked onion and a piece of beet, and looks like there's whatever the green thing is, snap peas, snow peas. This was his beet Wellington. It was a nut-based Sunday roast, etc. And again, it went fantastically. People loved it. But Piers Morgan, who we always go to for food advice, Piers Morgan said, "Oh, for fuck's sake, Ramsay, not you as well. This looks utterly revolting." But then Ramsay said, "So Piers Morgan is now a food critic? Go and fuck yourself." Here's the thing: veganism's on the rise. We ought to adapt and eat a piece of humble pie. I love that guy. I love that he curses a lot too, which I love. Sorry, cursing is what some of us do, and but I love that he's just so raw on the show. Even if I'm not agreeing with him, I love that he just says whatever. So I love that he went at Piers Morgan, who is a fucking douche, and just said to him, go and fuck yourself. There's something so British about that. Just adding the and, you know what I mean? because you could say go fuck yourself, but there's something just so proper. Piers Morgan, go and fuck yourself. That's fantastic. So all right, so we have that bit of news that I will share with you. Where's my links here? So first link is just a cool thing about um Gordon and his Hell's Kitchen show, which is another cool show, man. He's got some great shit happening. All right, there we go. And you know what's great about Gordon too? Y'all know my message on here is a bunch of things at once. It's how much can I curse and upset my great aunt who's 94 and begs me to not curse on the air. I'm so sorry. I can't help it, Neela. I'm trying to get better. If I know you're watching, then I clean up. But uh, but one of the other things I advocate is just cooking your own food a little bit more, right? We talk about growing some food if you can, making some food. Come on, folks, learn a couple recipes. Uh, and so even though if I'm not agreeing with these shows, um, the fact that they encourage people to cook and get into, you know, get into how easy it is really to make a few staples, you know. So okay, oh, we've got some good comments happening here. Zach Nelson, how are you, my friend? Bizarre Foods answers Zimmerman. Yes, I know. I know that he does a lot of weirdo stuff, you know, like these crazy worms and deep sea unidentifiable creatures and stomachs of buffaloes and yeah. Hey, do your thing, bro. Let's see. Backing up. Sabina. Okay. Sabina is bidding us adieu. Good night, my friend. Have a good day and stay negative. that's that's great. Crazy how that turns the opposite. Thank you, Sabina. Good to see you always. And uh, Bourdain, yes, he loved Indian food. Bassam says, yes, that's right. That guy, I try not to say his name, but that guy was not reinstated on Friday. You know, you, you bought all the tissues at CVS. Okay, I know, Zach. Secretly the president. Uh, Bud Light and Bommy, yeah, the Grace Jones documentary is amazing. Kathy says the Kurdish restaurant, St. Paul. That's right, Kathy. You're up in. Do they call it the Twin Cities? Is that what it's called? St. Paul, Minnesota. Is that right? Been there just a few times. We played at. Oh boy, it's too long to remember. But played at a really cool place in Minneapolis. Uh, and but been there a few times enough to see. Wow, what an amazing uh, 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 Ethiopian, Eritrean, Senegalese. You got this great African diaspora that parked there, and like many parts of the world, um, once there's a few immigrants from an area, they build a little scene there. So yeah, I had some good Ethiopian food. Uh, or was it Eritrean? I think it was Ethiopian food there, but there's Kurds there too. Huh? Okay, awesome. The land of Prince. Um, so hope to hear about that. And, oh, okay. Y'all are both in that area, so you're talking about specific places. Wow, Afghani place and Babani's Kebapi. Kebapi. Does anyone know the Kebapi skit by Key and Peele? Probably a little offensive today, but it's funny. Bassam gets baked every Sunday. Bassam, you are partially British. Then you didn't realize. Uh, Khyber Pass. Okay, that I think that was a place in New York as well. Khyber Pass. Okay. Okay, so that's the one Gordon Ramsay thing. Really cool that he's integrating. You know, he has a vegan chef. You know, But here's some cool news, both in the past 2 weeks from Mr. Ramsay. Big up Gordon Ramsay. Wow. And I'll put this link in here as well. This is amazing. He's agreed, part of this kind of evolution for him, he's now doing a thing with oat milk, silk oat milk. He's promoting it. And he's talking about how it's fantastic in where you would use milk in a recipe, use the goat milk. It's so this is incredible. He says, "Well, it took my kids getting on me, but now I really enjoy cooking more plant-based dishes at home and in my restaurants. Let me know. I'm sorry. Let me tell you, I know greatness when I taste it, and I'm loving silk oat milk for both sweet and savory recipes." Wow, that's a great human being right there. I mean, to make such a big deal about how insulted he was by vegetarian food, and he really wore that as a badge, and but to have the humility, to have the wherewithal to step back and say, you know what, I got that totally wrong, um, and that's something that we should all strive for, you know, I think I do that when people present me facts that are verifiable facts, by the way, because we're in this time where it's like, well, here's some facts from this thing I saw on Facebook. I don't know anything else about it, but you should change your mind based on that. But no, I change my mind all the time. One of the big ones for me, I've changed my mind years ago on kind of fake leather, like synthetic leather. I realized, wait a minute. A friend pointed out, my friend Stan, who's a bass player in a band I was in, said, that stuff is made of petroleum and plastic and all these polyphenol, weird chemical names you can see right on the back. There's warnings on some synthetic, right? Jackets and purses and boots and things because of the, polychlorovinyl kind of things. And he pointed out that's so much more environmentally crazy. And I never forget, like, just those times you just go, doom, wow, that's completely changed. Having said that, a lot of leather is made with a lot of chemicals as well, right? A lot of these tanning agents and stuff are horrifically chemical. So, but there's a middle ground you can find now, environmentally correct things. So there's some gray area there with your wool and fur is one that's pretty clear, right? That's I don't think you can do compassionate fur ever, but there's this argument for if they're killing all these cows, if we can use some of the waste product of the skins, there it's uncomfortable, but there's an argument there that you have to, be ready to be flexible on. Um, I'm foremost into this for environmental reasons. Every week we talk about the over packaging and the plastic and all the things that are on all of our food products, whether it's the healthiest quinoa shiitake mushroom burger or it's some horrible cheap unknown ingredient chicken nuggets. It's all the same plastic wrap and cardboard. So the more we can reduce all that is a big thing. Uh, Vassam with the Zappa lyrics quote. Very good, my friend. Plastic leather. Triple D E. Very good. Very good. That's Bassam is on it. He's kind of doing the what do you call it? The live color, for want of a better word, as you have in a talk show. Uh, okay, so Gordon Ramsay, three amazing things from this man today. So we've seen that he's all in on oat milk now. I just put that link up there. I think they have to be paying him well. Yeah, the oat milk people. Yeah, perhaps they are. He's one of those people though. I think, yeah, he donates and he's he helps put uh, yeah, educate new chefs, and he gives away so much money that I'm I love it. I'm sure it's not the money. Someone like him, guy has a bunch of mind-blowingly successful restaurants, and he's got this multi-headed industry. So he's you know paycheck for two different successful TV shows. He's fine, but uh, you know, yeah, great if they're paying him. That's great. But sorry, Alicia Silverstone is also um, involved in this campaign for Silk oat milk. So yeah, read about this. It's really cool. I'm sure everyone that lives in the States notices now. You go to the most mainstream supermarket. Man, I go when I'm traveling. You just run into a supermarket, and you can be certain uh, to actually suffer from a little option anxiety if you're getting some non-dairy creamer, or you're looking for some silk type stuff for your cereal or something. The option anxiety, because now there's 15 choices, right? I mean, our little supermarket chain here, Ingles, you go in and cashew milk, four types of almond milk, three types of oat milk, hemp milk, six types of rice milk, soy milk, 10 types. What else is there now? The coconut milk, of course. There's a pea protein milk. I mean, so amazing stuff. So this is just cool when these uh, kind of popular figures check it out. Alicia Silverstone, of course, has been vegan for over 20 years. She's awesome. Love her. And I think we all met her in that Aerosmith video with, I think, Liv Tyler, right? But she's turned out to be this awesome young woman, and now a mom, and in her 40s, and but has stood up for animals for a generation. And she's got a great Instagram, actually, where she's always talking about recipes and things we could do for animals. So there you have it, folks. The oat milk thing's blowing up. I think. Well, I don't think I know. Quaker Oats even has like a bunch of oat milk type products that they have happening. So all right. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Alicia. Uh, okay, so Gordon, it's a triple play. So he's got a vegan on the Hell's Kitchen, and he's very pro, having the chef on, and being real supportive of it. And he's put stuff in his restaurant. He's now the face of this new vegan oat milk campaign, as is Alicia. But this is a big one. This is just, and that was last week's news. This is news from, I'm sorry, the oat milk was late July. Here's some news from just not even 2 weeks ago. Let's put this one up. Kind of amazing. Um, Zach is saying, "Oh, really, Zach? Oh, that's a bummer." So there's yeah, I know, right? There's so many that the one you like gets pushed away. I'm going through that right now with Amy's vegan pot pie, which I love. That is such a comfort food for me. I don't know, in a year I'll eat 4 or 5 of them, so it's not like a staple thing. But when I want it, especially in the fall. But they've been nowhere. No store has Amy's pot pies, and there's a little space in the frozen section where it should be. But to your point, there's all these other plant-based pot pies now. Even Marie Callender, mainstream company like Marie Callender, is doing a beef style and a chicken style using, seitan and wheat gluten and stuff. They both have cheese and cream in them, though, so I'm not. I don't care for that. But I'm with you, right? There's all this explosion of stuff to be happy about, Zach. But it's like I'm just looking for the one I want. So silk, almond, and cashew. Never had that, so I'll try that sometime. That sounds like a good combo. I like them both. Celine, good to see you. Banana flavored almond milk. I'm sure that sounds great. That sounds great. So the other amazing. This one's a big one though, because again, our theme is pigs. We're gonna go back actually to the Farmshire Sanctuary. We're gonna talk a bit more about these pigs and other pigs that you can help and save. Um, but Gordon Ramsay knocked it out of the park about 10 days ago. It hit the news. I mean, he did it about a couple weeks ago. But he's developed a vegan bacon using rice paper and tofu and baking it specifically and all kinds of simple ingredients, right? Garlic, nutritional yeast, some spices, maple syrup, smart, right? To get that maple taste, that smoky. And kind of shocking. This article goes through a few of his other things, but there's the vegan bacon before it, before it comes out of the oven. Cheryl Ann says, bacon. Yeah, I haven't had bacon in about 35 years, and but that gets but yeah, loved it. I mean, that's the thing. I think anytime you're talking about diet, and vegetarians need to kind of look at that whole journey, and you know, um, there's a period in my life where I just didn't know. I love chicken. I went to Jamaica so many times and jerk chicken. Are you kidding me? Delicious. That's not the point though. And I think that's you're making me bring up something that I don't hear enough from kind of natural foods people, vegetarians, plant-based people. Is to not kind of be very frank that the journey we've had includes cuisines and things you love, things you grew up with. And so, many things gross me out, which is why it was really easy for me actually to be vegetarian when I was about 18 when I started doing it. And within a year, by the time I was 19, I was vegetarian. But there's a lot of things. Liver, oh, so gross. Hated it. Hated it. Where I come from, they eat cow's tongue. Ugh. Had it a few times. Ugh. Just because, and that's an early memory. I'm revolted thinking about it, but that's an early memory of you just ate it because your mother, your parents had it, and it was this or that. But I remember going, it's like a tongue. It feels like I'm biting my tongue. I can't do this. They ate iguanas where I was, right? They ate iguanas. Again, just gross me out. But I ate these things. I would eat a piece and then, blah! I can't do it. It's too weird. But I still ate the ones that we're indoctrinated. I still ate pork. I loved sweet and sour pork all through that time when those other things grossed me out. Even though I saw pigs slaughtered when I was about 8 years old, I watched and it scarred me. But my point is that we grow up enjoying foods. What are we enjoying? Spices, textures, smokiness, umami. We're enjoying actually a lot of plant based stuff when you think about it. A lot of what makes certain stews and recipes delicious is the onions, right? The garlic, the 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 the, the things with a very strong note, like the cilantro. When celery is cooked down into a broth, that permeates. That celery flavor and texture is everywhere. In Japanese cooking, there's all these fermented things, fermented turnips and daikon and umeboshi, and of course, the huge part of of Japanese food is the umami of cooked down mushrooms and fermented beans and things like natto and miso and tamari, the soy sauce. So, and you can do this. You can go across all world cuisine, and of course, there's things like steak tartare that's 100% meat. Someone's gonna say that, and that's fine. I'm not saying it's an exclusive idea, but um, one that you find in all the cultures. When I watch some cooking show and someone's doing a whole roast chicken, they stuff that thing right with thyme and rosemary and herbs, and it's marinated in rice vinegar or white vinegar or apple cider vinegar. It's got lemons that they cut in half and stuff in there. So it's plants, 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 plants. to enhance the flavor of the dead flesh. Quite frankly, I mean, let's. So that's an interesting area. And again, my argument is that makes it so easy to make something plant based because you're already 98% of the way there, at least on the list of ingredients by volume. Of course, the turkey is the biggest thing, but that's why it's been so easy, I think, for so many key celebratory meals to be done vegetarian style, whether it's whatever your culture might be, whether it's Thanksgiving or different holidays or whatever. But really great to see this happening on a big level. So with Gordon Ramsay, uh, let's see. Let me go back to this. Do I have this picture up? Mm-mm-mm. For some reason, I'm not seeing. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. So anyway, folks, another article. I'll put the article in the chat. But 3 bits of exciting news from one of the most popular TV chefs. And it's extra cool because he's one that busted chops on vegetarians and vegans. I'll go that far. He it was never, filled with vituperation or hatred like Piers Morgan can whip up in a second. It was always, pretty good natured fun, thumbing his nose. But you could see along the way, he's got a masterclass too, where he does this incredible cauliflower steak. So he would prepare all these plant based foods with a lot of love, with a lot of real, honest, like no snark. And so for him to turn these corners recently is really cool. So I'm gonna put that in the chat too, and for a guy like this to say, that he's fully respectful of also the dairy stuff, things that are vegan butter and vegan uh, cheese and stuff like that, which is another news item I'm going to talk about. The lawsuit that was just won by Miyoko's and others. So really cool. Um, let's see. Oh, a lot of uh, great comments. Let me back up. So many non-dairy milks. So Zach says that, yeah. Milkademia, right? There's a macadamia one. Yeah, there's so many. Zach used to live off Amy's stuff, even if it sticks me too much. I know, bro. I'll find the vegan mac, gluten free, not. Yeah, yeah, that's cool. No, and it's easy, right? Amy's is one of the great ones. That is the Berliner family. I met them in the late '80s, like 1989 or 1989 or 90. Went to a trade show, which I went to for about 15 years. I would go to the natural foods trade show. Those of you who are musicians or in the music biz, you know about NAMM, which is the big thing in uh, Anaheim, California, and in uh, Nashville once a year. Those of you in Europe may know about the Music Messe, which is in Frankfurt, which is like 20 times as big as NAMM, but it's a similar thing. There's a trade show like that for natural foods, and incredible. Again, I went just about 15 years straight, and it was amazing because I got to meet uh, Annie from Annie's Vermont. I met Amy, who's the daughter of, I forget the mom's name, but she's the daughter. She's the little girl of the Berliners family. She had certain allergies and wanted to eat a certain way. I think she was very young vegetarian. So they said, well, let's cook for Amy. And so once they generated all these recipes for Amy, it became Amy's this and that, burritos, pot pies, different entrees. So yeah, Zach, very easy to have quite a few of Amy's stuff. The quality is great. It's one of the better companies. They really leaned in early on with a lot of organic ingredients, simple ingredients, a lot of clarity on their packaging. So it's a company I love most of my life now that I've been uh, uh, I've known that company, and it's a really special thing too when you get to meet the people behind these companies. That's why I think I'm a little less snarky about these corporations than some people could be, because I've met the people when they were young. I met Reed's, Chris Reed is his name, from Reed's Ginger Brew, that stuff. I met Chris Reed when he like brought his kegs of ginger brew to the trade show in his own little van, his SUV or whatever it was. I mean, these are people who were just starting businesses, starting ideas in 1989, 1991. I have so many friends. Uh, Richard Rose, who was the CEO of a company called Rella. Was that Rella? Rella Good Foods. Remember them? They did hemp Rella. They had vegan Rella. They had another one. They had one of the early, very good vegan cheeses, and not vegan cheese. They had one that had casein in it for a while. But really great memories. The guys from Alvarado Street Bakery. Again, these were kind of these small companies in the late '80s, early '90s. Kenneth, and Rob. If you don't know, this is old school. If any of you know Ken and Rob's pockets, they used to do these pockets. They became Imagine Foods. They became Imagine Foods. But I remember those guys just, you know, uh, early on, and the Rice Dream is what blew up for them, which was one of the first milks that wasn't soy. So I could write a book about this stuff, and I probably should because I need to figure out new sources of income. But Ken and Robert's pockets. I'm trying to remember the anyway. Good memories meeting uh, a lot of these people, these pioneers in the industry, as well as the older ones. I met Dr. Bronner. Um, just once. Wow, that was amazing. Then he died, like in the '90s. I think he died. I met him, and his daughter was there every year. Dr. Bronner, right? The soaps and everything, right? Uh, uh, so many cool. I can't remember the names, but the founder of Light Life, which is such an important company, right? Wow, they really. It's inspiring too when these companies exist and you meet these people and the passion they have for animals and the environment. Um, and you know this because they always keep changing their packaging. Light Life's a big one on that, where they just kept making packages smaller and smaller, and experimenting with corn-based plastics and um, kind of brown recycled cardboard, like with single color print, and just getting more and more soy ink. I remember when these companies would say we're using soy ink. So it's it's an exciting ride, and to see it still happening when it's really we're getting into emergency times, folks, with climate change and all this shit. Uh, yeah, let's see. What were those things called? Uh, what is the I'm looking for this old school. All right, we'll come up with that. All right, we're gonna go back to some stuff on Farmshire because they're just a featured kind of topic today. Although not like a specific uh, thing. It's very informal today. But I wanted to make sure you had their actual links here before we go look at some other pictures. So again, it's Farmshire Sanctuary, and I welcome you to donate um, from a distance. It's a beautiful thing. Um, and they are in Waynesville, NC, just about 20 minutes outside of Asheville, something like that. There is their Instagram, so check that out. Okay, so back to comments. Zach said that, and okay, and Sharon gets. Oh, Amy's comes in a food box. Wow, that's great. Cheryl Ann, you are a riot. It's been great your comments the past couple days on this fucking movie we're in, right? Oh, so Cheryl. Okay, people ask what meat you eat if you decide after 30 years. That would be it, huh? Bacon. Okay. Yeah. Well, I was saying that, yeah, I can remember a time, but I'm so, it so immediately says to me, pig, that I just, now I'm revulsed by it if I walk into a house and someone's cooking bacon, I can't. It just goes right into but that's okay. I respect what you're saying, and I love that you do not eat it, but it crosses your mind. Cheryl, question for you: have you tried some of these bacons? I mean, there's the Light Life tempeh bacon that goes back old school. That was awesome. Uh, Sharon just brought up the Sweet Earth. That's a great one. There's one from the Beyond people. I think one of these other companies. Really, there's a couple great ones. Have you tell me if you've tried any of these and if they've done anything for you? Uh, Celine says tried it once, not really great. Yeah, that's good. Bacon is a better flavoring. Okay, yeah. No, you're right, Zach. And what is it? I was talking about it before. It's just smokiness and a little bit of the kind of the saltiness. There's a fat salt thing that's going on. It's doable. Yeah, I've eaten some of these vegan, bacon flavorings and stuff. I try everything because I had to as part of my career. I had to try all the plant based stuff, even if it's something I didn't care for, and uh, and I loved it. It's not like that's a bad thing. It's just not what I would eat, most days. But it was a beautiful time to try everything that's out there. But the you're right, Zach. It's a flavoring. So you can get these vegan smoke flavoring. I've seen it in the stores. I've seen it even in the supermarket. Zach, you're here local. You know what I just saw in Ingles, man? It might have been Harris Teeter, which if you haven't spelunked around uh, in Harris Teeter over by Trader Joe, um, they have a really good international aisle, really good, exceptionally good, with a real lot of Asian stuff. I'm really impressed. I think I saw it there. If not, I'll let you know. But they have a vegan fish flavoring, so you can get that little fish note that's in certain Thai foods. Um, you know, which I've probably had accidentally somewhere. But you're right. It's about the flavoring, Zach, and the bacon. You get some maple, some smokiness. You get that fat salt profile, and it's there. There, somebody that I really respect her views. I'm so happy she's here today. Is my friend Cy Serelia, who's a great electronic musician. Uh, you should check out. Zach is an amazing electronic designer and a musician, great musician. But he's got him and his buddy Les have a company called End Times right here in Asheville that does modules, synthesizer modules. So check that out. Are you still in North Carolina? Here's some North Carolina synthesizer amazingness happening again in Asheville. I know you've been here for Moogfest and all that. But I love looking at Cy's posts over the years. Cy is a friend of mine who geez, I lost track of how many degrees you have, my friend. She's a microbiologist, she's a chemist. I think she's got a degree in some kind of wild uh, genetics, DNA stuff. So, Cy, I thought about you a couple months ago because during all this shit we're going through, I love to listen to the scientists. So I'd love to get your take on some of this stuff that's going on. The virus, the vaccines, this, that, because you always have an interesting take. Cy had showed some pictures of harvesting spirulina right off the water in Mexico somewhere. So she's awesome. I know not 100% plant based, but very very into plant based food. But a lot of great points she makes as a biologist. Yeah. Um. Let's see. Oh, and let's see, Sai. What were you saying? Um, I'm going too fast here. So okay, who are some top publicly traded plant-based companies? I know, right? That's a good question. I'm not expert on that. I don't know. I'm not a great investor. I did it years ago. I'm 56. It's probably time to get some good investments going. But it's usually just pay the bills. But that's a great question. I don't know, but I've read some articles about that. There's a couple good ones. And what was I just reading about? Oh, um, Kraft, actually, amazingly, Kraft is doing a bunch of investing in other companies that are plant-based startups. I mean, that's unbelievable, but there it is. Th- are they getting a slice of it, or are they getting maybe? But the fact that a big company like Kraft is looking around and saying, "Hey, there's such growth in these areas." Um, but that's a great question. Does anyone else know an answer to that? Great question from Sai about if there's plant-based company that you've vetted and checked out. I would say there has to be though, because yeah, there's some of these companies are really they really have environmental people involved. They really have a really good mission. Some of them are just doing it because it's fast growing. Let's be blunt, right? A lot of companies are jumping in, but good stuff. Uh, Donald Headley, yes, of course, Chinese, African, yep, yep. All kinds of foods in Guyana. Yes, I didn't mean to leave out the other half of our wonderful country, but was talking about Indian at that moment. But yeah, Indian food in Guyana. Guyana has quite the cornucopia of food because the there's Chinese and in various places in Africa, right? It seems like a lot of Guyanese are um, East African. There's a lot. There's of course slaves were brought from all around, but there's a heavy concentration of kind of East Africans. But also, uh, let's not forget the Amerindians, as they're called, the indigenous people, Arawaks, and people of that kind of background that were already in South America when all these people arrived. There's an element to that. There's a lot of Guyanese cooking that a lot of the roasting and the barbecue type stuff comes from the indigenous people. Then there's also the there was English and Portuguese and Spanish that were there. So you get these little things. So one of the classic Guyanese foods is saltfish, and I know in Jamaica it's with kalaloo. I forget what it is in Guyana. Maybe with kalaloo, I don't know. But saltfish, that's a very Portuguese thing, right? The bacalhau and all that, which it's called also that in Guyana. So you got a real mix of stuff in Guyana. Uh, uh, Portuguese, all kinds of things, all kinds of spices that I learned later on were Portuguese, and then English. It's for better or worse, the English imperial boot that stepped all over so many people around the world uh, is one of the more interesting yin yang discussions we can have when we talk about world history because the English well, we got English. Yeah, I speak English pretty well, and also I went in English school when I was a kid for 5 years. So I still think about that, how intense it was at age 11. I was in a class where I had English, French, Spanish, geography, geometry, and algebra. What the fuck? That's crazy, man. And but they really, but the English food side, because we're talking about food, certain pies and like the little round Guyanese patties and all these little things, the different breads and the cakes. A lot of the sweets are very English. Um, so yeah, we got it's a real kitchen sink culture in Guyana. Um, so let's see if a neighbor's cooking bacon, right? Get the incense. Uh, Meg, how are you, Meg? Splunked. Well, I think splunked is a different word. Um, there's a bunch of words that sound like that. No, I went with spilunked. I believe it's SPELUNKED. Spelunking is diving into caves. So I kind of that's what I sometimes when I'm just lurking around in the supermarket, um, the weirder aisles in the supermarket, I uh, I'm kind of I'm exploring. Usually it's Home Depot or something, but I'll spend way too much time like So there you go, spelunking. Uh, but the exploration of caves, especially as a hobby, right? There you go. But good to see you, Meg. How's your plant-based life? How is the saint? Um, let's see, Zach. Oh yeah, you don't make it to Heart Studio. Yeah, really good. A bunch of organic food there. Really, I'm impressed at. I started going there, especially at the beginning of the pandemic, because it was less busy than Ingles and stuff. And I started realizing, wow, really strong. Every month or two, they had a bunch more plant-based stuff. So they have a huge amount actually. They really, uh, as you as most stores are having are developing, but Harris Teeter just has a nice clean feel. Um, Spelunking gold treasure. Spelunking is any searching in a cave, right? So it could be for whatever. Yeah, just minerals or mushrooms or something. Maybe even I don't know. Okay. Pittsburgh. Hmm. Not sure what that is. Pittsburgh. Okay. Okay, great. Well, we're gonna go to a couple more pictures, and I've put the link up for our friends at Farmshire. Please follow their Instagram. Just at the very least, do that because such awesome photos. And Sarah and her team, because it is a team of volunteers. Some of the people are relatively full time. She's got vets that help out. She's got Whole Foods does some really great donations. Um, it's very inspiring when people put this much time of their lives. This Perrier is making me burp. Excuse me. These pretzels are making me thirsty. So we're gonna go to some more pictures, and we're gonna wrap up soon. I just noticed, by the way, folks, this is uh, the 1 year anniversary of the Slicks being on my show. Remember the Slicks? Eric Slick, Julie Slick, the drummer and bass player, respectively, for the Adrian Belew band, and for Eric plays with Dr. Dog. That was awesome. They were on about a year ago, and so I invited them on again. See where they are a year later. I know Julie has opened her catering kind of company in Seattle. Okay, so um, just to take a look at some pictures here before I show you some more of our pictures. Awesome shots. And there's Sarah. She's awesome. And I forget which pig that is. That's, I forget. Okay, I forget the pig's name, but there's Ethel in her compost pile. So cool. We met Ethel. They kept her behind the fence though, because she likes to peck. It's not only strangers, but at Sarah herself. So this is how pigs scratch their lower back. It's probably a not safe for work video, but they're just she's just scratching her ass. Look at that. This is when they had just the little wading pools, which now they have Another little pool has been dug. So sweet. And some of the volunteers, they have folks that come out there, you know, just kind of a rotating crew. And there's Apple, and Apple is the queen of the mud pit. These pigs have fun too. They blow bubbles, they dig further into the ground. They're also having some artists do murals on the wall. You can see there's one of them there, and they're filling that wall up. This is one of the llamas, Charlie. Let's see. Pigs making sure that that bucket of Brussels sprouts is completely empty. Some of the folks in western North Carolina showing up for the animals. There's some of the wonderful ducks. There's that duck in the middle too, folks, that's got that amazing hairdo, which I love. But as I learned, it's not cool because it's actually some kind of cerebral defect that humans have bred for the look. Anyway, mixed bag there. Um, this is a big pig. We saw this pig yesterday, man. But they're just gentle animals, yeah. This is Gwendolyn actually, who did pass away recently, and she had some issues, but they extended her life. You know, she really. This is about a month ago. She passed away, and they really tried, and some vets donated some care, but you know, you can only do what you can do. This is Gwendolyn again. Look at that face. Why would we want to kill animals that they're? And I know someone's going to say, "Well, you're killing lettuce, you're killing broccoli." Sure, but there's got to be some degree of consciousness that. And I have friends I've had long debates about who say, "Well, you don't know how conscious spinach is. How do you know they're not screaming and going through a nightmare?" Well, that seems like just a faux kind of an argument. Um, Especially since you can cut a few leaves of the spinach off the plant and the plant keeps growing. That's kind of where the line is for me. You can't cut off a bit of the chicken or a bit of the pig and unless you're going to eat like the feathers or that's an idea, right? Humans start eating feathers and the quills and stuff. But anyway, just for me, I see these faces and I go, wow, such great animals. So this is one of the artists doing some of the stuff. There's Sarah with a llama, Charlie the llama, and these animals, you know, they take a while to get warmed up to humans again because they have been abused a lot of the time. That's what's amazing too of sanctuaries like this. It's literally a sanctuary because it's taking these animals out of a horrible situation. Sometimes they come in and they're horribly injured and they're completely terrified at human presence, but they have successfully helped so many of these animals become, you know, normalized around humans and live out their lives. So, really great. So please follow their Instagram. You can find links to their nonprofit. Uh, uh, um, it's a 501c3, you know, nonprofit company, so you can write off your donations on your taxes. Look, folks, I know someone's asking for money every day. I'm asking for money. I always forget, but you know, but uh, I give away what I can. I donate where I can. I support artists directly where I can. What I just love about animal stuff, and I have for decades, is if you know the place and you know the money's going right to a good place, then it's really cool because that's one of the things with donating money. You just kind of have to go. Well, I hope the Red Cross is operating with this, you know, with this money I gave. Um, but if you find a good organic farm or a farm sanctuary or somebody doing animal rescue and stuff, and you know it's really going there, then it's just kind of cool. And this is one of those times. So all right, we're gonna look at some more our own pictures that we took, but let's see what uh, you are saying. Uh, let's see. And thank you for putting my Patreon up there, Sharon. I always forget. Yeah. Thank you, Meg. Okay, great. Plant based is it's a game changer, isn't it? See, you do the other half that I got to get on, which is you work out and you stay fit and you swim and you do all the cardio stuff. Um, I actually have. I think we talked about this. I gotta. We were having some schedule problems, but I have uh, a plant-based uh, um, trainer is the proper name for her, right? Um, and she's Kelly Irving. Do you know Kelly Irving? She's got a real great business there in Monmouth County, plant-based training. She's in amazing shape, puts people into amazing shape, and I'm gonna get her on the show. We just been our schedules are both nutty, and but I got to get her on to just talk about um, some inspiration there on. But I'm starting to do a little exercise again. I got some weights happening, just some lightweight lifting that I'm starting again, and got my bike fixed. Haven't ridden it now in 4 days, 4 or 5 days. It's been raining here. I've been lame, but I have ridden a couple times, and let me tell you, what a wake up call. Pro tip, folks: sitting inside drinking beer for a year does not really help your athletic prowess. It's just, you probably didn't guess that, but yeah, not the best thing. But Jay, good to be alive. Um, okay, so thank you for checking in, and I'm glad that the Saint is happening. Um, Christopher says the meatless survival food suppliers. No, I haven't, but that's a great point. I've looked at some of those things. I've heard ads for these survival food things for years. Because I'm a big fan of talk radio, and in the '90s that became a talk radio thing. Like all the commercials. Like I'd listen to Art Bell, and I was listening to Sean Hannity in like 1991 before he became a big TV star. And all these stations, Michael Savage. You ever listen to him? Savage Nation. I listen to all that stuff. That's why um, I'm a real pain in the ass to people if they want to debate politics because I actually have done the motherfucking homework on the other side. I've spent thousands of hours of my life listening to Bob Grant and Ed Koch and Rush Limbaugh and Mark Levin and Michael Savage and before that Morton Downey Jr. and I know what's going on here. I've got a master's degree, an imaginary one, in conservative talk radio and conservative thought and conservative ideology. Um, what the hell is he talking about? If you're just tuning in, the point I'm making is that I noticed all of a sudden, which is also why I've tracked the explosion of guns and kind of separatist groups and the Bundy Ranch. None of these things surprise me. Nothing surprises me. January 6th, a little bit surprised me that we didn't respond, but it didn't really because I saw that energy coming since the 80s and 90s. But my point here is all throughout this, you started hearing these commercials for survival food, right? You started hearing these radio ads and it was It's like, what are they talking about? In 1991, 92, 93, that was not something that was, we're talking 30 years ago. Start hearing these ads like, you know, for $200, we will send you a, a sealed container with, you know, 5 months of food for three people, whatever, things like that. And then for $1,000, feed a family of six for, X amount of months. And it was jerky, and it was, dried venison and all this kind of stuff, and beef stroganoff in they add hot water, and kind of basically camping food, space food. So there's this huge industry now. If you go look it up, massive industry, because we're in this mode of societal collapse being right around the corner. Whether it is or not, that's definitely the way a lot of people are rolling. So great question, Christopher. I have seen some of these things that are meatless, actually, because I've gone to some of these websites. I've definitely followed up on some of these companies. There's actually a fair amount, and a lot of it's marked vegan, it's marked gluten free, it's marked different things. So there's a bunch of stuff, and I've seen it. There's a hiking, well, it's a outdoors store right here in Asheville on Tunnel Road, whatever that one's called, Black Mountain or Black Star or something. They've got a bunch of these dried foods, these camping foods, these survival foods, and yeah, I'd say half of them are vegetarian, one or two are vegan. Esther the Wonder Pig, sure, I know Esther, and uh, why was our planet designed to evolve as a sacrificial eat or be eaten lifestyle? Well, I don't think it was designed. Don't get me started on that. But you do say or evolved. I mean, do I wonder why? I don't wonder. I mean, we have a really good understanding that human diet changed for all kinds of reasons, but two giant reasons. And yes, I've studied this a lot. I've listened to TED Talks on this kind of thing, and I've read countless articles and a book or two that gets into this stuff. You read books by Michael Pollan or Terence McKenna or what's the Anthony Robbins or what's the guy's name? Peter Singer, Animal Liberation. All kinds of sources. I read history of food all the time. And two big moving forces in diet changes are, of course, climate. As they track the fossil record and the ice record and things like that, and they see weather change around the planet, things change for humans. You had different, if you need calories and all of a sudden a bunch of crops don't grow, you will either starve or you'll switch to some other food groups. And then the second big thing that you do, which is the second big impact on human diet change, is geography. So once humans started really moving away from where they think of as the cradle of civilization in Africa, you find some of the earliest humans there, and they can really track humanity moving out and around the globe, which changed what we ate, right? You'd suddenly you're in a different, you're in the tundra, or you're in heavily forest area, or you're near the oceans, and so you have all these cultures that develop food around their geography, and then other ones that developed it around scarcity, the planet changing, or moving to another area, and oh wow, we had no idea that half the year here it's snowing, or things aren't growing. So all those things impact. That's a great question, but yeah, there's a lot of work done by very smart people on that. How humans, but we were obviously, you hear that phrase hunter gatherer, and I think that's we were actually more gatherers. We were gatherers than hunters, because it's so easy to gather. It makes sense that that's what we did first, and indeed, the fossil record shows that humans had this very diverse diet. But the animal flesh we ate early on was the simple ones. Mice, you'd get an occasional baby bird, or catch a little rodent, catch a little mammal. Things that were easy to catch and kill. or trap. We ate worms, beetles. We ate insects. You just ate whatever you could get quickly, human being. And if it wasn't horrible tasting, you ate it and you ate it again. Once in a while, someone would die. Uh, that's always a question for me. Like, how did they figure out that that dude died from the mushrooms he ate yesterday? That's a heavy one, right? I mean, they figured it out obviously because really early on, humans knew poison mushrooms and things. Uh, it's probably easier than I think, right? Probably six people ate some mushrooms, and there probably was even funny situations where someone didn't share with someone else, and they got the last laugh, right? Because all six of y'all died, and shit was dripping out of your mouth, and they were like, "Okay, those mushrooms with those red dots are not the ones to eat." But still, why would you try another mushroom after that, right? Humans are pretty amazing. Uh, Mushrooms are the one too, where I go, wow, how did they? Um, or the what's the other one? The puff fish or something like that. The Japanese. That's one where it's completely lethal except for this one little area that you have to cook it to. Like, how do you figure that out? Like, a bunch of people die until you get it exactly. So anyway, fascinating area, Christopher, and that's a great thing to bring up. How do we? But there's a lot there. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, we have a really good handle on why did humans start eating this and that. A really interesting one is the role of grains in our diet. And I had a wonderful guest a week ago, Sarah Garone, who's a blogger, a nutritionist, a food writer, a food reviewer. Some of you might have caught that. It's on YouTube if you think you'd like to see it. She was great. She had some really awesome insights and talking about food trends. But we talked a bit about grains and the whole gluten-free thing. Grains are fascinating because grains are relatively new to humans. They're relatively new. Until we had humans stay in one spot and really start to say, okay, well, a lot of us are now in this spot. We call those settlements or villages. They become cities, whatever. But at a certain point, that's a big moment in human development when you need to feed a lot of people in a close area. So people are growing their own food, but then you start having someone who says, well, I'm going to grow a lot of this crop that humans eat. And little economies come out. And a lot of our economic reality comes out of agriculture and where we developed agriculture. The point there is, if you look around, there's some really fascinating stuff on grains and how humans, once we started cultivating grains, that really settles you down, right? Because then you have this big area of land that's dedicated to a very efficient source of protein, of carbohydrates, of all these, great nutrients. Grains are great. We just overeat them. We overdo them, especially wheat. So, a favorite area of mine. So, thanks for that question. Um, yes, get back on the bike. Even the plants and fungi feed off living or dead biology. Yes, there's a great movie right now, Fabulous Fungi. I think we've talked about it. Wow, so amazing. If you haven't seen that, it's really great, and it talks about um, how fungi, fungus, and mushrooms, and tiny invisible fungi are such an important part of our ecosystem. Let's see. I consider myself shopping at a grocery store as a hunter-gatherer lifestyle. Sort of, right, right. Well, you're gathering. You're not doing any hunting in a grocery store. So, to my point, we actually evolved more as gatherers. We gather. Try this leaf. What? Oh, these berries are bright red. My eye is attracted. They're good. Or I die, and then someone doesn't eat those berries. So we gathered. We picked up bugs and worms, and the hunting. It's also shown in the fossil record. Kind of came in slowly by necessity. People living in the ice age. You had an acceleration of animal protein being super important in the Ice Age, and trapping these huge animals like mastodons, and using every inch of the flesh, right, for clothing, for this, for that, for weapons, the bones, preserving and drying and smoking animal flesh, all came out of that time period because humans had to adapt to what was happening in the tropical parts of the world. I mean, you can imagine the people that were in indigenous Brazil and Colombia and Chile, or where I'm from, had they're living in a rainforest, and right off the bat, you can see to this day in those cultures what's much more prevalent. Things with coconuts and mangoes and bananas and breadfruits and all these amazing fruit that grow in those cultures, and maybe some wild animals that the rest of the world would go, whoa, you're eating that? They eat snakes. They eat, all these pretty wild animals. But the point there is they are defined by the geography, where they are. Let's see. Mushroom hunting is a good idea if you know what you're doing. Yes, exactly. There's lots of poison ones. So you hunt through the stores finally. Okay, so you're changing the meaning of the word hunting. That's fine. It's, why have language if we, but yeah, sure. Colloquially speaking, you're hunting for some whatever, organic ketchup or something, I guess. But I think when people say hunting and gathering, it's really, really, really clear that they mean human being chasing animal, killing animal, or trapping it, or driving it off a cliff, or any of these things that we did, throwing spears at it. Then we got bows and arrows. Then we got guns. That's what hunting means. But sure, it can also mean other things. Hunting wabbit, as Bugs Bunny used to say. Right, the pufferfish. Not interested. Man, that's shit. I wouldn't be. I mean, I don't eat fish anyway, but yeah. We don't produce what we eat. We just capture it. Yeah, you get it at the store, but that still doesn't change the meaning of the word hunt. Which, again, I love arguing with you because it just kind of goes off a cliff, which it's great because it reminds me sometimes. But I think I don't use this word much, but it's inarguable. Again, I rarely use that word, but it's inarguable what the phrase hunter-gatherer means in terms of the hunting side. It's clearly a reference to going out and hunting. Let's see, but I wanted to pull up the trailer of this movie. We've talked about this Fantastic Fungi, and just as an aside, I want to make sure y'all have. If you haven't seen this, I'm late to the party, so I think a lot of you have seen this, but it's on Netflix, and it's really cool because it just talks about fungi, which covers the whole family of organisms on Earth, from yeast and different single-celled or simple organisms, all the way up to mushrooms and things like that. All kinds of really great film because it goes through. They talk to some really cool people. That Paul Stamets is one guy who I've sold some of his products over the years. He makes these mushroom supplements. He's a mycologist. Michael Pollan's in it. Terrence McKenna, who I mentioned before, that tragically passed away. Him and his brother in it. And it's just kind of just beautifully done, actually. I think beyond the cool information, it's cinematography-wise just really cool. Here's a quick bite of the trailer, and they do a lot of cool like that, like film um, CGI techniques and stuff, time lapse. Wow. Unfortunately, I don't have the sound set up today, but um, hopefully this interests you enough. There's the great Michael Pollan is in there. He is great. He writes some really great books, but talks about how fungus is in every part of the planet, and without fungus, we'd have a lot of biological waste. These creatures, these entities. Oh, here's where they're using it in a cancer treatment. Some pretty heavy stuff that mushrooms can do. So check that out, and eat more mushrooms. I'm trying to, and they're awesome for us. Um, let's see. We didn't, okay. So the word hunt does mean different meanings, which I said, Christopher. But also true and inarguable is when people use the phrase hunter gatherer, they're talking about hunting down an animal. That's you know that's it. That's what people are talking about in that phrase. Um, I agree with you that it means different things now, and language has evolved and changed. But it's a term that scientists and paleontologists and different people use, historians. Um, Never liked fish as a kid. Yeah, yeah, fish was tricky for me as a child. Christopher went hunting for wild blueberries with no weapons or traps. Yeah. Well, some would argue you were gathering them, but again, you didn't have to chase after them and catch them and kill them, which is the predominant meaning of the word. But it's okay. You have your own island that you're on, and I just love watching it sometimes. But that's awesome. Glad you went and got some wild blueberries. That's really great. And you even say in all caps, gathering. So you actually went gathering. Yes, you went gathering blueberries, as you pointed out. Uh, let's see. Okay, awesome. So just have a couple more pictures to share with y'all. Let me get rid of some of these things. The trailer. There is Veg News. Um, the California law, folks. That's a big one. Please, if there's anything you read from all this stuff today, let that be at least one of them. I'll put it again because that's huge. This is a law that impacts the hog farms, not just in California, right? The is that the most? Yeah, California is the most populous state in the USA. Well over 10% of U.S. population, right? 40 some million. That alone would be huge. All right, I can't overestimate or overstate the impact of this. If it was just California hog farms, pig farms, it would be dramatic. I really want to make that emphatic point, folks. If it was just California pig slavers and hog farms, but they went further and they said not only every producer in our state, but you can't bring pork in for sale in our entire state. That is amazing. I mean that, and it's causing a lot of screaming and yelling and gnashing of teeth from some of these slaughter companies. But I also read that a few of them have jumped quickly and said, you know what, fine, we could spend the millions, change things around. It just shows again the power of the market, because at the end of the day, they want to sell stuff to California. So that's it. They're going to change if that's what it takes. A few of them are trying to fight on a legal front, but it's really hard. So, okay, so let's go back. I know I've got a couple more really cool pictures. Here's a closing questions, folks. Closing points. Anything we missed? Mm, mm, mm. We have these llamas. Oh, we didn't see this picture. Okay, here's a good one. These amazing llamas. Really, forget their names, but they were just odd seeing them, especially because they're from wherever it is in South America. So cool. So again, these llamas, what's special about them is uh, they were quite abused when they showed up. They were quite abused by these people who were practicing uh, what you call it, lassoing on them on their necks and just you can just imagine the stress. So they were really really very skittish and very scared of humans is what Sarah tells us. But you know she and her team just it's about patience. That's what we learned talking to these folks that you got to put a lot of time in, and you eventually you eventually get back this incredible response, this incredible love from these animals. Um, so yes, let me know if you have any closing ideas. Today was kind of like I said about the pigs. Today was the really great news from a very influential person, Gordon Ramsay. You know, and we can have a lot of discussions on, you know, um, celebrity and people have some, yeah, you just trigger people and they go, they have problems with these celebrities. But what I like is they are influential, and if that means if they're gonna do something of positive influence, then hey, that's nothing wrong with that. Let me see about getting you some audio on this video. Okay, let's try that. Let's see if that works. So this is kind of the live stream from yesterday. It's really cool because it gives you, just to kind of head towards wrapping up, gives you a good overview. Let's see. I probably lose my voice, but you'll be able to hear what's on the screen. So
Jeremy's mom's on. Hi, Lori.
Hey, Mom.
On. So we did lay a tarp down today. I did a pre-walkthrough and found some rocks and some really deep mud. It doesn't seem to bother the pigs, but most of them are like 400 or 500 pounds, and Jeremy and I aren't quite that much. So we're just gonna go in with a tarp. Hi, I see Jeremy's mom's on. Hi, Lori.
Hey, Mom.
I'll talk to you a little bit about the mud pit while we're waiting here. So in case you didn't know why we had a giant mud pit, pigs have to cool off in the mud, and they also need it for sunscreen and bug repellent. And it's actually pretty clean. We did flood it today because the ducks get in occasionally and they don't have the same bathroom etiquette, but it's actually pretty clean water. And if you all have any questions or comments or feedback today, please let us know. If you have any ideas of future things we can do to keep you all entertained, then let us know. My sister's on. Hi, Tiffany. We got the pigs over there being distracted with some salad. We do want them to join us later, but we didn't want them to be in for the initial plunge because we thought it might scare them a little bit. They tend to get a little upset even when another pig joins in, which is why it's so large, to try to give them all plenty of space. So we hope they might join us later, but of course it's at their own discretion. It is their home and we won't make them do anything they don't want to do. Hi, Evan. Good to see you. Thanks for donating. All right, I think we have quite a few on here. So I just want to start by saying thank you so much for donating to my fundraiser. A lot of you are close personal friends and family of myself, or some donor or volunteer or supporter, so thank you so much. And to anybody that just supports our mission and randomly donated, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. We've had a lot of medical bills lately, so this definitely is going to help out to kind of restock our funds. So we really appreciate it. All right, are you all ready? So for safety, for those of you that just joined, we do have this tarp down so that we don't get stuck in the mud. We also have a rope to help pull us out, and we have David on standby with the life jacket. So we're really hoping it doesn't turn into a search and rescue operation, but we are prepared. So I'm going to hand this over to Megan, and she's going to take the footage of the plunge. Thank you all so much.
One first. Like a countdown. Yeah. You go first.
No, we're doing it at the same time.
Oh, at the same time? All right.
Oh, yeah, and thank you to Jeremy for agreeing to join in on this.
Pleasure.
And thank you for Megan for coming up with the idea. Oh, wow.
Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay.
Hi, Mom.
All right.
Can I get a countdown? Let's do 10. Okay. Yeah,
Goodness.
it actually feels really good. It is a soft. Come on, piggies.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, of course, Apple's the first one.
What about Gilbert? It's really nice.
It is. It's really fun. And it's like, you're not thinking at all.
No, I think we actually need like a human version for volunteers on hot days. Does anybody want to join?
Oh, here comes Bear.
Come here. Come here, Potter. And I thought we'd see.
Oh, me too.
Oh, I don't know if we're having this time. Oh, hi, Dolores. Hi.
We ready to wrap this up?
Check, check. Check, check, check. Am I back? Yeah, I think I'm back. So, yeah, folks, I have a technical thing today where it's either me or the internet. So you heard the internet there. Yeah, just wanted to share that very cool and unique ritual that they did just yesterday. And again, folks, one of the overall messages here is find a sanctuary near you. If you're in Michigan or New York or Arizona, California, I got people all around the country checking in. Someone from Turkey, someone in Germany. You know, every little bit here you could chip away at um, awareness. You know, increasing awareness. I just love farm sanctuaries, and for decades back in New Jersey, we used to support one. Here, this is the second one that we've been involved in, and it's just a really cool, multi-layered thing because you always can see right where your money's going. I mean, you go to these places, and you know what? It's not just money. You know, we've donated blankets. You know, we've donated just like some old produce once or twice. That's not much. That's just a couple heads of lettuce we had or something. But going out there, but we've taken blankets because in the winter they need to build, you know, beds for some of these animals. They're not used to the cold. So that's the other cool thing. We've seen them do tours for kids, for kid groups, for educational groups. It's just a great way for kids to experience animals. That's not a zoo. That's not, you know, more of a captive kind of relationship. So just something I love, and thank you for letting me um, share that, and thank you to my wonderful other half, to Robin, who has really has a passion for saving animals and for us doing the right thing for animals societally, and she's very involved with a lot of different groups, and and does some photography for Farmshire and for another sanctuary. So we're really got a great community here in Western Asheville, in Western North Carolina, in Asheville, where um, a lot of plant-based restaurants. We have one of the most amazing award-winning ones called Plant. We've got Rosetta's, that's vegetarian, not vegan. We've got the Laughing Seed, that's another award-winning vegetarian restaurant. And we have, I can't think of a restaurant that doesn't cater in some way to plant-based. Even the famous barbecue joint, 12 Bones. And I say famous because that's where the Obamas go when they come here. Wonder what they're going to have this time because, right, they just had the vegan um, focused 60th birthday for Barack, right? But even a place like that in Asheville, just saying a little bit about our uh, supportive energy for plant based, even in a famous barbecue joint, there's 4 or 5 side dishes that, you know, yeah, you're gonna eat side dishes, right? Let's be realistic. They're not doing barbecued uh, jackfruit or tempeh or marinated tofu or anything like that yet. But they're very veg friendly with the side dishes and stuff. So you know, the farm sanctuary stuff is just one extension of that. So I'm gonna wrap up here. I'm gonna put their link, one more link in there, um, which is the Farmshire Sanctuary Facebook. So check that out. You can support them directly. And Christopher says the farm video. Okay, yeah. Um, Not sure, Christopher. Is that a question, or you're asking where that was from, or um? Okay, yeah. Either way. Uh, Kathy Starkey, that's great to hear. Meatless most days. Wow, that means so much to be an inspiration. Wow, that's why I do this. If one person can say, you know what, I'm looking into it. Um, wow, that's cool. I didn't know that. So that's awesome to be upping your percentage. Bassam, you got COVID at NAM 2020. You are a fool, boy, and don't ever change. Punk Rock Labs, Fochies, never heard of them. Wow. So, a question to Sai Sorelia, asked before, and I wanted to put a link. There's a company called Veg Economist. Let me pull that up. Vegenomics. Get this right. So there's uh, Vegenomics is a thing. It's on Twitter and stuff. But there's an article I wanted to share with you. One more article. I thought I just put it in the chat, but it's okay. So Miyokos, you might know Miyokos. Miyokos is the brilliant, brilliant woman behind. She calls it a creamery, Miyoko's Creamery, because she does everything you could do with cream. She's got a feta cheese. She's got a butter, 2 or 3 types of butter. Some are from oats, some are from other plants. She's got half a dozen cheeses that are amazing. Um, what else does she do? Cheese, milk, creamer. I think maybe not a creamer. Anyway, she's really not a milk, but all the things you make from milk. But she just won this lawsuit. Um, and 2 things about it. I want to, for my friend Sai Sorelia, who asked before about investing in plant based, which is such a great question. Uh, the vegconomics, I don't even know how you pronounce it, but I'll just put it right there. Oops. They did an article on the Miyokos, Vegconomist. That's the thing. There is Vegenomics, but Vegconomist is the one that the website is dedicated to kind of the business of veg food, of vegan food. So that might be a place to go. Sai and other people thinking about, well, what about investments? Because this website is focused kind of on the money side and the economic side of plant based evolution that's happening. So there's an article, and it's just talking about Miyoko's and how she and her company won this battle to use the words butter and cream uh, and all that. Doing that. Um, Christopher says my audio level is quite low today. Okay. Thanks. I turned up a little bit. Test 1 2. Okay. Hopefully I got better. Yeah, the video level is different. I changed my setup around a little bit, folks. I got a different mixing board that's also an interface, but a nice pawn shop find. But it's a mixed bag on some other things. But that's boring. Technical stuff's boring. Okay, great. You got a Farmshire thank you card and stickers. Okay, that's right. They have a Patreon. Obama did not seem very health oriented, even smoked cigarettes. Yeah, I think he was pretty health oriented, but I agreed. For me, the cigarettes wrecked it. But other than that, he was always talked about eating, a pretty plant friendly diet. When Michelle was doing a lot of the stuff with the garden at the White House and everything, he would say, "Yeah, I'm happy I have her. She's got me eating the broccoli and the good food and stuff." So yeah, he always a pretty healthy guy. Also played basketball. He was very very vocal about that. Very vocal about exercising. So again, your perception on stuff is fascinating to me. I don't know how anyone could conclude that Barack Obama was not very health oriented, except for the cigarettes. I agree on that. And that was, it's like, dude, what are you doing? But even that, he talked about it, and he said, "Yeah, I really shouldn't quit. I really shouldn't smoke, and wait till uh, I remember in interviews he'd be like, I gotta sneak these away from Michelle, that kind of thing." But I'm glad he quit that also, because it's a big piece. But yeah, so news on Miyoko brings it in for a landing. Always great to see all these cool things happening in Vegetarian Times. I look at their website, Veg News, and now I'm going to start reading Vegconomist because again, it's all about uh, the business of vegetarian. So, and they have a section on their on the website about investments. So, Sai or anyone else, please check that out. It's Vegconomist. Here's a page about global alternative proteins, which is going to reach 4.8 billion by 2027. China is a big driver. We spoke about this, and of course it is. Biggest population on Earth. That's how math works, right? We kind of fight math. That's what we do. This whole 18 months, we're fighting math, folks. That's what this whole pandemic, especially in the USA, has been about. There's the math, and there's what Americans want. And so we just, but one of the things about math is China is the most populous nation on Earth. So if there's anything that you see in the market that's picked up by China, wow, that's a good investment right there. And this is bearing it out. Here's a July 19th article saying global alternative proteins are going to reach 4.8 billion by 2027. China, a key driver, mycoprotein, a key driver, which is proteins from mushrooms and, mycelium and the work of mycologists. Anytime you see myco, it's talking about fungus, mushrooms, mycelium. And there's huge work going on there with developing mushroom-based proteins. I mean, Bill Gates. Oh, so that means I don't know what it means, but Bill Gates has invested in one of these companies that's doing a lot of work with mushrooms and turning them into. There's a yogurt that he's involved on the investment side of supposedly a delicious yogurt. I watched a little special where Anderson Cooper was trying these things, and he was like, "Wow, that's really good," because you can use the mushrooms, use the protein of it, come up with a milk-based a milk substrate, similar texture, and then add other cultures besides the mushrooms itself, and make a yogurt. And they also had a burger that they made again from the mushroom proteins. So this is if great question, Sai, about the investment side. That's a great. I got to learn more about that, and I welcome people to put some posts. But I'll put that in the chat too because that's so cool. Let's see. Cool link there because again, it's another one from Vegconomist, and it's it's their page about the market and about trends. So an area that I kind of fucked up as an adult. I didn't. You're supposed to invest and plan for retirement and all this stuff. I picked being a musician. That bounced from job to job. Maybe not the best choice. Christopher says, yeah, Obama ate at 12 Bones, exactly. Right, and they come. It's kind of thing when they come here. It's one of the things they do. But he didn't eat pork all the time. He made clear even then that was like, okay, you got to have that in North Carolina. So yeah, that doesn't bug me if people are. I'd like them to quit totally, but I'm happy with people who only eat me once in a while. In fact, it's in the name of the show. If you could just do it one day a week, I'm really happy. So there you go, 12 Bones, exactly. And as I said, definitely not a place with roasted tofu or something like that. But they have a few side dishes. A couple of them are vegan, and if you're okay with dairy, there's even more because they got like a corn and a rice and beans and a few things with some butter in them. But I know someone who works there, and he gave me the rundown of they get vegetarians and vegans there all the time that bring people visiting. But yeah, I've never been. It's not for me. But if I had to be there because a relative insisted on visiting, yeah, good, good, good place to support. Maria, how are you, Maria? You're back. Are you in the United States now? Are you world traveling from Eastern to Western Europe? Um, Veganese. Yeah, I love veganese. A jar if it'll last me a year, but I do. I put it on uh, um, sandwiches, which I've been digging sandwiches again. We have some amazing local Jewish rye from a local bakery, and it's so good. Uh, Between that and the other one, I get another one that's a flour-free bread. I'm realizing, a sandwich is fast. You can just throw it together. Some lettuce, some hummus, some garlic paste, some veganese, um, some roasted peppers, some roasted onions. If I've got some one of these um, um, vegan cold cuts, I get those once in a while. They're very high protein. But I just like to throw some vegetables in there, slice of cukes, some hot peppers, and then it's about sun dried tomatoes, whatever I have that can be in a sandwich. But yeah, lettuce and onion and tomato is always a star. But yeah, veganese, awesome on some bread. So that's great. Okay, back from Amsterdam, awesome. That must have been great. Can't wait to hear some stories. Um, let's catch up soon. I'm sorry I couldn't jump on the other day, right? You messaged me from like where were you? Norway or something? Sweden, Norway. I was literally doing a stream or teaching or something. But sorry about that. Sweden. Okay. Maria loves smashed garbanzo beans for sandwich dip. Excellent. Yes, that's a good. I've done that. Um, and garbanzo beans really can get like a tuna thing too if you do it with the right spices. What do I use to moisten it? Yeah, well, the veganese, little olive oil, extra virgin olive oil. I like garlic that's been uh, uh, just simmered. Robin always prepares a huge jar of garlic, prepared garlic, which is simmered till it's soft, like spreadable, and we just have that sitting in the olive oil all the time. So as you're cooking, just spoon a few cloves of garlic with the olive oil into your soup or sauce or anything. Really awesome. But on the sandwiches, grab a couple cloves of garlic and spread them. So uh, that's what I would do also in the smashed chickpea thing, the smashed garbanzo beans. If you have some garlic that's either roasted or we do that too, just chop the top off of garlic, little olive oil, and roast the whole thing. I'm sure you've done that. I mean, right? That's maybe not in a while, but I'm sure you've done that. But that's awesome because you can get that garlic into something like smashed garbanzo beans or smashed black beans and or spread it right on the bread. And so those are a couple of things. Tahini is another one. I'll do a thing with tahini and a little oil, or if I'm looking for an emulsifying kind of an agent, a little bit of tahini with something acidic is fantastic. A little bit of tahini with lemon juice or a little vinegar or tahini with a little olive oil to just get a complete fat profile kind of a thing, a little sea salt. Wow, that goes a long way in a spreading kind of a sandwich layer type thing. Uh, Mr. Mulder, what's up, bro? Scott Mulder reporting in from Venice Beach, the tent city of Venice Beach, right? That's what it's become. Um, Home of holy guacamole, which is always on my vegan journey to Los Angeles. Holy guacamole. So, yes, garlic is life. Uh, Indeed, Maria. Tahini. Netherlands, my friend, we always talk about splitting this place and taking our families and right? We're still gonna talk about that, right? Build like a music place that we rent out and we travel. But Netherlands is high on the list. Kind of pricey to move there, but you can live, pretty cheap. Also, I have a lot of friends in Netherlands. One of my favorite places. Yeah, that's an example of what Western society could be, right? Great social safety net, comprehensive health care. Um, geez, respect and support for the elderly, maternity leave, paternity leave, working wages, 6 garbage cans, right? Because they collect garbage and then paper, then clear glass, green glass, brown glass. Just a really an egalitarian society that spends the money on affordable mass transit. Walking and biking is what they're trying to get everyone to do. So all the roads and streets everywhere are oriented to that. And then yeah, I love it. I love it. Just been there many times. Holy guacamole. Yes, that may be a brand name, but what Scott turned me on to, it's a place called Holy Guacamole. It's not um it's not a brand name. It's but there is that stuff. I've seen it. But no, um this is an amazing restaurant in Santa Monica in LA. And here's their link. Oh man. Scott, mail me mail me a burrito, bro, with everything on it. I'll take a picture of one. They're pretty nasty if they have to survive in the mail for 4 days, right? But no, folks, many, many, many amazing Mexican places in California and especially Los Angeles, especially um, Mexican food. Christopher Lowry is asking if I've ever had Sir Kensington's. I had a couple products from Sir Kensington. I think the ketchup rather than any other stuff. Um, but yeah, anyway, there you go. Holy guacamole. Wow, incredible stuff. Not vegetarian, not the whole place, but very veg friendly. And we always go there. Get that. There it is, the veggie burrito. It's rice, beans, lettuce, tomato, cabbage, guacamole, and cilantro. Get some mole in there, and they've got all these pickled hot peppers. There's a million places like that, of course, in Los Angeles, but that's one of the many repeat customer ones. Yeah, the little pickled carrots and jalapenos. Yeah, man, get me hungry now. I think the closest thing I have is a couple of frozen tamales, so we might need to go there. All right, folks. Well, thank you so much. Uh, went a little longer than I was trying for today, but that's all good. Um, so the pigs, give them your love. Stop eating them, or eat them less. But really, let's think about it, because especially pig agriculture, hog farm agriculture, one of the most destructive things. There's just something inherent about how they do it, and they end up with these giant, giant football field sized pools of hog effluent. If you Google that, you'll see it's a huge problem, big problem here in North Carolina, South Carolina, some of these other states. I think is Indiana is another one, or Illinois, one of those Midwestern states. Uh, and they struggle with it because the water ends up polluting rivers, lakes, streams, ends up costing taxpayers a lot of money. We always get saddled with the cleanup, right? So pig farming is a fucking nightmare, to put a fine point on it. It's really bad news. Um, so if someone's telling me, well, but I love pork, well, just try to try to spend more money on it. Try to get it from a farmer directly from a compassionate source, a more compassionate. But I think today we honored the pigs. We did a lot of stuff with these beautiful pictures at Farmshire, and uh, and gave you some links to kind of support that. And the very good news of none other than Gordon Ramsay, who is you know just let's see how for some reason it stopped the rest of these pictures. Yeah, Gordon Ramsay is so influential in the marketplace, in the cooking TV world. It's huge when he has made these recent steps, because bacon is one of the backbones, folks, of kind of American, uh, um, you know, animal cuisine, um, animal flesh cuisine. So let's see here. I think I can just show you just a couple more pictures. Um, Squeal on those bad agro meat operas. Yeah, I get it. Squeal, very good. Um, it's continual, yeah, continual uh, surveillance that's going on. Uh, Hello, Ron Zubia. Say, please give my love back to my dear friend Ron Maria. Thanks. That's awesome. We should be out on tour, shouldn't we, in November? But no, we had to have the worst numbers on earth instead. A future topic: Andre's favorite restaurants worldwide. Yeah, that's it is something I've worked on because I've got video of a lot of my trips. I mean, I've got amazing video somewhere on one of these hard drives. Oh yeah, so much. Chile, uh, Chile. When I was there in 2006, I went to a vegetarian Chilean restaurant and got some great pictures, videos. But I've got video of amazing vegan food truck in Mexico City, and vegan food in Tokyo, and different cities in England and Berlin, Frankfurt. Uh, Man, it's about finding all this shit. Had one of the greatest meals I ever had in Tel Aviv, Israel, and I'm talking, wow, like two picnic tables long worth of appetizers that were all vegetarian, and most of them vegan. And this was the food they brought out before the big chicken skewers, kind of a main dish. And it was just interesting to see, as I said before, that side dishes can be very vegan. And it was funny because a couple of the guys would make fun of me for being vegetarian. So they brought all this food out, and everyone's eating these appetizers, and I'm busting their chops because it's hummuses and baba ganoush and baby corn and different things with all 5 types of olives: black olives, green olives, white olives, red olives, uh, all these pates made of olives, and sweet potatoes and pine nuts, and it went on and on and on. Everyone was more delicious than the other. And I'm going like, "Oh, you're enjoying this, huh? There's no meat here." Oh, whatever. I'm like, "No, that's you bust my chops." And so we ate like this for like 20 minutes, and people were starting to pita bread, uh, and I'll never forget. They finally bring the platters of chicken out, and a bunch of people were like, "Oh man, I'm so full. That was great." And most of them had a little bit of chicken, but a lot of it got packed up to go, and it was just a real interesting moment of how fucking good plant-based food is if it's tasty, nice variety of things. So I do have lots of pictures and films, and I got pictures of that night, but who knows where they are. But one of these days I'll pull that together. And for a while I was consciously filming stuff, thinking one day you'll pull this all together. So I do. I've got Australia. I got a bunch of amazing video of um, Indian place I went to that was like run by this different Hindu sect, and everything was $5. I think for all you can eat. It was like what? And it was just this feast of amazing Indian food. So one of these days, who has the time? But all right, so we've got I've got some pictures still uploading, but you saw some of the really great ones. Um, I just want to make sure you saw one more video here that was cool. Um, yeah, there it is. This is such a cool video. We'll end with this to give the pigs uh, one more spotlight. Really awesome video of them eating because they get these Brussels sprouts. So cool. And so Whole Foods donates a lot of food to these animals, which is so cool. Um, and some other smaller stores do, but they're so fucking problematic that it's nice when they do something cool like that. So we'll close on this video, which is a little quick movie of these pigs. They've just been rewarded with their salad, and there's all kinds of fresh greens and lettuces and stuff. And if you watch, they kind of push each other out of the way a little bit. Oh, okay. We got humans in there. Pretty amazing. But sometimes they nudge each other out of the way. Like I was eating that. So very cool visit. And there's again, that's Sarah, the director, and that's the famous chicken. So so cool. Good to be back at the farm. And good to be back talking about pigs, talking about good food. Thank you, folks. Thanks for being a part of this on Mondays. It's always fun. Maria, yes, I'd love to hear about the Michelin restaurant in Copenhagen. That sounds awesome. Um, this is a salve for your wounds today. Oh, Cheryl Ann, isn't that awesome? Yes, the Miyokos. I know you're a big fan of Miyokos, right? Isn't that great? I'm so sorry you got some wounds happening, my friend. I know. I saw your posts about just this crazy shit we're going through. That's right, Christopher. My Dinner with Andre show. Exactly. That is. Uh, it's about time. All right, folks. We'll see you soon. See you on Patreon. I've got a few things coming up on Patreon. But check my Patreon out. And if you are you want to stop by, I do some open house Patreon stuff. I do a performance every Friday night. I do a workshop on synthesizers and production every Saturday. I do another workshop on guitar production and recording and stuff like that on Thursday night. So I do a lot of technical stuff. I do live book writing, which is me writing my book live in front of you, and you get to see the oh well, thank you, Sharon. I'm just putting that there as well. The uh, uh, I do a screen share and I do live writing. So I stopped doing my acoustic Sundays for a while. We hit the warm weather, and Sunday became a day where nobody was sitting at home at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. But that's going to come back soon. And uh, like an hour or so of acoustic music. So I got a whole bunch of stuff I'm doing on Patreon. Going to be expanding that as we head towards the fall. I can't believe we're saying the words. Still lots of summer left, but the fall starts in 4 weeks and 4 days. That's pretty amazing, right? Is that right? July, and August. When does the fall start? can't remember. Yeah. April, May, June, July. Does it start September 20th? I don't know. Something like that. Oh, boy. Either way, there's going to be a lot more stuff coming out of this feed. So thank you, folks. And we'll see you soon.